with it being the 20th anniversary, what brought you back to this world?
My passion for the game,
Yeah,
the fact that I back in 2006, that was the second game that I wanted to adapt, but it was looking, like a too big chunk to swallow at the first time, So we decided to adapt the first game because it was, the one where the big challenge was just to recreate the atmosphere of the game on big screen, and it was plenty enough, And now, 20 years after, when we decide to go back to Silent Hill, I say, okay, it's time to do the second game. The second game has plenty of additional things, and especially the fact that we have the perception of the lead character, and he is almost mad, we can say, is
yeah.
and yes, I think I wanted to adapt Silent Hill 2 since 20 years, and I thought that it was the right time now, simply because I had the feeling that the horror genre has evolved very well the last years, since movies like Midsommar or Hereditary or The Witch. It follows, suddenly we saw this new brand of horror film, and playing on the level of perception, and and not only focus on the jump scares, because when the first Silent Hill was released, it was the time of the jump scares, and some people were disappointed by the first film because there was no jump scare. And
Yeah.
as I was trying to explain, it's a movie about nightmare. It's not a movie about fear. It's a movie about nightmare. It's more something disturbing than something who take you by surprise. That was the idea since the beginning, and I think that we are now in a time where the horror fan expect something much more sophisticated than 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was we've kind of covered my second question was how do you feel horror has kind of evolved in the context with your filmmaking? And you you
Very
covered
well.
that. So,
Very well. I mean, very well. My favorite horror film of the year is Bring Her Back by the Philippou brothers. I think it's a striking movie. I was shocked when I saw this film. I mean, I was like, wow. It's because it's both visceral and at the same time so emotional, and the Philippou brothers did a wonderful film. I mean, there is plenty of interesting horror film this year. Weapons,
yeah.
for example. But Bring Her Back as something special. It's so bold, so bold. Maybe because they are Australian. Maybe that's the fact that they are not playing into the Hollywood according to Hollywood rules.
It's very
And
possible.
yeah, it's an amazing film. So, I think it's a good time to do horror today. And also, the situation of the world around us is so fucked up that I think it's going to be a great time for horror film. In the next years. Yes.
Well, thank you. And I am curious, there's a lot of unique shots in this film. There's one shot that I love, and it's at near the beginning where James is in the bar, and it goes kind of into like a first person perspective in the mirror. I was wondering, was that ever like aspect meant to come back up in the film? Because I love that, like, but I didn't see it come back up in the film. I was just wondering, did I miss it, or was that ever like planned to come back, that
You know,
perspective?
First, I wanted to put on screen immediately the idea that everything is going to be from the perspective of the lead character. So that was interesting to make that shot, and that's the kind of shot also that you can meet in some video game.
Hmm.
And for example, me when I'm playing to a video game and I cross a mirror, I try to see if I will see my reflection into the mirror. That's a reflex. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting, and Yes, I think that for me that shot means that immediately I say to the audience, maybe on a subliminal way, that everything is going to be through the eyes of the hero, and that's also a way to introduce the famous shot of him looking at himself into the mirror in the restroom of the bus stop.
Yes, yes.
Because that shot means something. I mean, everybody is talking about this shot because it's not just a beautiful shot in the cinematic of the game. It's actually a shot that defines completely what's going to follow. And I don't know if you have noted, but I have imagined an history to this shot because when at the end, just before he killed Mary, he looked at himself into the bathroom of the hotel room,
Oh,
and we understand that's exactly the same frame and everything. He look
yeah.
at him and he start to cry, and it's just before he's going to kill her. And that shot, in fact, uh, is the story of the shot in the restroom when he come back to Silent Hill. For me,
Yeah.
that shot is framed by the shot in the bar and the shot in the bathroom. Just to say to the audience, okay, I'm not just taking the classic shot of James looking at himself into the mirror. I try to tell a story about that.